Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Canned Air, your tribute to pop culture. I am Jeremy Colley.
I'm Jack Doherty.
And returning to the show today is a guest that is probably, I think, Jack, one of the first guests we ever had, going all the way back to episode 71, which was in April of 2015. That was over a decade ago.
Wow.
Over a decade we've known this dude. He's been on in the past to talk about his comics like Red Waves, Lone Tales, The Snow Universe, and he's returning today to talk about Sussex, which is a psychological thriller that explores mental health through the lens of a spy during World War II. He's talking about chapters 3 and 4 that are going to be going up on Kickstarter February 26th. We welcome back comic creator Nick Goode. Nick, welcome back, man.
Hey, that's insane. Like 10 years? That's I was just talking about like time flying. Like that's actually mental.
I know. I was doing the numbers before we got on here, and it kind of scared me. I mean, it's a good scared, but just it's crazy. You know, this has happened before. I know, Jack, like when we had Susie and Miguel on, same kind of a situation. It's like, holy crap, we've been friends with you for over a decade?
Serious.
How did that happen? When did that happen? Oh, over the last decade. That's when it happened. But
especially with it being friends for people that are across the pond, basically, pretty much too. It's such a far distance and knowing them.
I know. I hope we actually like get to like meet in person someday. You know, that's the goal.
Yeah,
but
man. Yeah, that is like Luke and I were talking about it. Like Luke, who anybody hasn't heard before, I did a podcast with a guy called Luke Barnes. But we talk about it all the time that like we love you guys, and we're like, that'd be so great to like actually meet them, like at a con or something, like just somewhere.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it'll happen. Just 10 years is insane.
I know it will happen too. Brooke and I have talked about taking trips, and whenever she brings up going to the UK, I was like, well, you know, we got to stop and say hi to Nick, you know, and hang out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
Anyway, it's so freaking cool to have been doing this long and like cultivated this group of friends that we keep getting to touch back in with over the years. And we're going to be doing this episode kind of like we were doing back then. We're going to be opening up with a segment we used to do called the Retro Roundtable. We're going to be looking at our favorite spies from throughout pop culture today. And it's funny because I have a theme song when we were only, focusing on the audio end of this. I have a theme song that opens up this segment. But with, now the video element, seems kind of weird just to sit here and play an audio clip with no visual to go
looking
with
at each other.
Right. It's almost done. But I took to Google Gemini today and I uploaded that audio, and I thought maybe I could get AI to whip something together, because there's so many references in that thing. You can hear like Mario say Wahoo, and you can hear Steve Urkel, all these different little pop cultural references. I thought, let's see what AI can do with this. It came up with nothing close. Nothing close.
Oh, really?
It came up with
you're talking about the Retro Roundtable.
The Retro Roundtable
openings that okay.
Yeah, and it came up with four people that no idea who they are, dressed in 70s clothes, sitting around a table going, "Welcome to the Retro Roundtable." Boy, these fashions are retro. I'm just like, okay. I guess I'm going to give up on this. But anyway, I had to tell that because that was funny. I'm just starting to dabble with AI, so bear with me, people.
It's probably the words you're using, like retro is going to probably pick more from like 60s, 70s era type thing.
Well, I went through and I got a lot more descriptive with my request, but by the time I got descriptive enough, I had reached my allotment for the day of videos. So maybe tomorrow we'll have better luck. We'll see. But all right, let's kick this off then, talking about some of our favorite spies from throughout pop culture. Jack, kick us off.
So mine, I just happened to, when you showed me the Retro Roundtable, this movie immediately popped into my head, and I just got done finished watching it. Just the movie ended just before I came and jumped on. But it was I guess it is kind of a spy movie, even though the said spies from the movie are decoys. And I'm talking about the movie Spies Like Us.
I've never
Chevy
heard
Chase and Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
I haven't seen either.
Man. So there are a couple of guys that work in, it's kind of like a Homeland Security. They're just desk jockeys. And there's this test going around that they have to take that test how maybe trustworthy they are.
How loyal they are.
Spies. Yeah. So they get in the test, and Chevy Chase walks in. He's got an eye patch. He's got his arm in a cast and a sling, sitting down taking the test, and like his father, his grandfather, and his great grandfather have all been, in the same business. So he thinks he's a shoo-in. So he gets in there and he's taking his test, and it's like, I think it's an hour for like 500 multiple choice questions. So he's just like, whatever, I'm a shoo-in. And he's taking his test. He pulls his hand out of the cast. So he's got cheat sheets. He's pulling his eye patch, which has cheat sheets too. Meanwhile, Dan Aykroyd's kind of doing the same thing. And they just, all of a sudden, Chevy Chase gets up and starts acting like he's having convulsions and stuff, looking at everyone else's answers falling on the ground. Dan Aykroyd gets up and pretends like he's in on it too. He's just like, oh, I'm a cardiac arrest person. I just need, this guy needs air. So they end up getting the job basically because they're just, innovators, I guess that it's looked at. They go through all this stupid training that's really rushed through and get sent into, what was it, Afghanistan, and ends up being that they're decoys for a real set of spies going to launch this nuke that this, splinter government agency is working to try to test this, this bomb threat that comes in, which is a laser beam that shoots in the sky that misses, but they end up saving the day at the end. Of course, Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd, they're themselves, and it's hilarious.
They're themselves, you mean like they're just playing them typical selves, or?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Just how they are in Ghostbusters and Fletch.
Chevy Chase isn't in Ghostbusters.
Well, no, but I mean, it's the
I'm
same.
Just giving you
the
shit.
Same thing. I kind of thought as soon as I said that, I was like, wait a minute, he wasn't in that. That's right. Fletch or Caddyshack.
I don't know if it's had the same effect on you guys, but with all the news of Chevy Chase being just like a complete asshole and even racist, like it just really takes the shine off some of that old stuff. Or does it? How do you guys feel about that? Your opinions change at all on the man? Can you separate the man from the art?
To some extent, yeah, because like as funny as Chevy Chase is in a lot of those things, he's also bouncing off other people. Like there are other people in those things that like add to that situation. Like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation's like one of my favorite Christmas films.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, of course.
And I watched it like over Christmas again, and like, but everybody kind of makes that film. Like Chevy Chase is obviously great with like reactions and stuff, but like the people also around him are kind of the ones that are also delivering. So yeah, I think kind of like I can kind of separate the man from the art in a way.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of put it as thinking like my dad's even said, because he's in his 70s now, he's just like, I just don't care anymore. So I mean, you're gonna do what you want.
I mean, I'm not sitting here saying I had like a Chevy Chase movie burning night or anything. Like I didn't do anything like that. I still can enjoy these films too, but it's just not, I don't know. It's different now. You just see him and you don't think of like, oh my God, comedy legend, Chevy Chase. You think, oh, asshole bigot, Chevy Chase, just being funny. At least I do. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too sensitive here.
Watching Community, I think it's a little different watching him then, because he was taken off the seasons after because he was such a jerk to work with.
Yeah, and he was left out of the SNL, what was it, 50th anniversary or something?
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Like he had made a comment about that, like, I don't know why I wasn't included. I think that's kind of what like spurred everything. Like, really? You don't?
Yeah. But everything like before all that, it doesn't really do anything in the back of my head.
Yeah.
Just because that's something I grew up with, and I don't know, his comedy is part of why my character is the way it is, I think, anyway.
Yeah. So everyone bring your Chevy Chase movies down to Candera headquarters, and we're going to have a big burning tomorrow. Okay. Nick, how about you, man? Favorite spy?
I think I'm jumping in with pretty much like anything from Le Carre. Like when I was working on Sussex, like that was always a big influence, like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy or The Spy Who Came In From the Cold. Like
I don't know these things.
Oh, so John Le Carre is like really famous author who wrote I think like I'm never sure which is more famous, Spy Who Came From the Cold or Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. But Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, there was a couple of films, but there was one that came out maybe 15 years ago now. It's got like
Was it
Gary
that long
Oldman.
ago already?
Yeah, it's got
Wow.
like a huge cast. It's like Gary Oldman, Tom Hardy.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay.
I want to say like Benedict Cumberbatch's in it as well, but I'm not 100% sure on that. There is like loads of people in it, and it's quite an ensemble, and it's not like an action spy movie. It's more like cerebral. It's more kind of what's being said and like the subtext and stuff. It's really kind of clever spy film. But he writes a lot of that same stuff. Like if Fleming's the kind of suave, sophisticated Bond actiony kind of thing, Le Carre is almost the more like nitty gritty, sort of like entrenched in probably what it would actually be like to be a spy, rather than like Bond, where it's like, does that person actually exist? Like the gadgets and the whole like just craziness. Le Carre feels more like, yeah, this feels a bit more real. But his latest thing, actually, Le Carre died, I think, in 2020. But I've literally just come off the back of finishing The Night Manager. I don't know if you've heard about that.
I haven't, no.
So this is one of his other books. He did a book called The Night Manager, which is about a hotel night manager who becomes a spy.
Oh, wow.
And he's kind of involved in like basically going undercover and finding out about like arms dealing and that kind of thing. And the series came out probably like 10 years ago now, and it's got Tom Hiddleston in it. As kind of
Loki.
like yeah. So he's the lead, and then Hugh Laurie is the villain, and they've just done a second season of it, which just finished airing like last week. But the second season I loved. Like the first season's good, but the second season, like suddenly it's got like a real style to it. Like visually, it's one of those things where it's like it's like they just spent 10 years finding a cinematography for it. It was kind of
Right.
like, this doesn't have to just be like your everyday spy thing. Like it can be a really well thought out story, but also visually look amazing.
I actually watched a trailer for that show the other day because it popped up, and I was like, Hugh Laurie, wow, I didn't know he was in anything. And then Tom Hiddleston too. And I
Yeah.
saw the trailer, but I didn't jump into that one.
What's it called
Yes,
again?
The Night Manager. I think in the US, I think it's on Amazon.
Okay.
Over here, it was
Yeah.
on the BBC. But yeah, the first series was like 10 years ago, and Le Carre only ever wrote one book. And then on the press tour, as far as I've understood, like Tom Hiddleston basically said that Le Carre was like, maybe we should do this again. Like maybe there's another story for this character, and that's kind of like where they've got this second and then a third series. So it kind of becomes like a trilogy of series to finish off this story. But I am always enamored with Le Carre's writing. There is something about it, his world, and like just the way that he does Spies. It always feels very, I guess, claustrophobic, I think is the word. Like if Bond is very grand, this feels way more kind of constrained. And I think I really like that in spy stuff, when you feel like the walls are kind of closing in.
Right. I want to see this. I mean, I would imagine it'd have to be good to demand an all-star cast like that. Wow.
So, yeah, and I think Tom Hiddleston's I think he's I don't know if he was a producer on the first series, but he's definitely a producer on the second one. So it feels like everybody who's involved in it has been really passionate about telling that story and making it kind of like, I don't know, like worthy of Le Carre in name, which is quite cool.
I know the trailer I saw didn't really give me any vibes of it being anything about spy. It just seemed like it was just kind of drama.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Like Le Carre is like a weird one. It's like there is action in The Night Manager, more so than I think with like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, but yeah, it kind of is just about like somebody going undercover and trying to like kind of assume another identity to get information and do that kind of thing. And I find that quite fascinating.
Really, that seems more spy-esque versus having explosions and stuff, gunfights all over the place. Just being quiet and moving in and becoming whoever you need to be to get whatever information you're doing.
Yeah, and I think that's always the interesting thing about like anything that's kind of spy related, is almost like assuming another identity, and like whether that identity is part of you or whether it's like something that you've just completely created and it's all fictional, whether there's like something in there that is like whether you want it or you need it. It's kind of like, I think that's the thing that Le Carre plays with quite well, is it's almost like I think he goes off the idea that like being a spy is, even though you assume an identity, it's a version of you that you wish you could be in a way. It's that kind of like
Oh yeah,
that gray line between like fact and fiction.
kind of like the persona people put around themselves when they go to work or something. And then you meet them in their real life. You're like, wait a minute,
yeah.
that's not him.
Yeah.
I can think of someone Jack and I used to work with years ago. You know who I'm talking about, Jack?
No.
We helped her move.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to say any names, but
Yep.
yeah. So I would expect that James Bond is like still a sweetheart in the UK, like something the UK is still very proud of. Would I be wrong?
Yeah, Bond is like something that is always in the kind of zeitgeist, and especially at the moment, I think with them like gearing up to do another one. I feel like every week I'm reading some kind of trashy newspaper who's sort of like, these are the latest bookies for like, put your money on who's going to be Bond, and it's kind of like it becomes like a whole thing, and you just sort of like, I'm not sure we need this. like Bond is great, but do we really need like every time there's going to be a new one? It's like place a bet on who you think is going to be Bond, and this is the bookie's favorite, and it's just like,
yeah,
it's just casting at the end of the day.
Is that like, are you talking about that app? I don't remember what the app is named, but like people can like put wagers down on absolutely anything and make cash. Do you know what I'm talking about? Or is this something that...
This is like just not normal betting shops. Like you can walk into a betting shop and essentially place a bet on who's going to be Bond. I think anyway.
I don't think we have that here in the States, do we, Jack? That I'm aware of.
No, it's mostly all about sports. But like, yeah, I know what app you're talking about. I can't remember the name, where you can just sit there and like go on Twitch and watch someone play and be like, oh, they're going to do this. Put your bets down.
It is going to be years before they stop passing that Bond mantle. You know what I mean? Like you were saying, like, do we really need it? No, but there's enough nostalgia and people love it enough that it's just going to keep... It's like Doctor Who, man. There's always going to be another Doctor Who, right?
Yeah, Doctor Who is the other one that like there is always like a bookie's favorite of who's going to be the next Doctor Who kind of thing. And I think that's the stuff where it's just kind of like, do we need to be placing bets on this? Like, do we need to be gambling just who's going to be cast? Because it's
get your fix somehow.
Yeah. And I'm sure like the next Bond, I'm sure is going to be great. Like I really like the writer, and Denis Villeneuve's an amazing director. So I'm kind of like, Bond will be great. I just don't need the constant like place a bet on this person because they've apparently been going around saying they're Bond. It's like, according to who? Who
are they speculating? Anybody we would know?
I know Idris Elba. At least that's here. I know I've heard Idris Elba.
Now he would be awesome.
Yeah, he was rumored for a while, but the latest two, there was a guy called Callum Turner. He was in, the last thing I saw him in was Masters of the Air. I don't know if you watched that. It was like a World War II series on Apple.
Callum Turner, you said?
I think it was Callum Turner, yeah. I think that's his name. But he was rumored, and Jacob Elordi. Jacob Elordi's like in the last like 2 weeks is like the one that everybody seems to be talking about and saying has apparently met with Denis Villeneuve.
Elordi, you say?
Yeah, Jacob Elordi is like the guy that's in Frankenstein. He plays the monster. Oh,
the monster. That was so good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He is easy on the eyes, I guess, so I could see that being Bond.
Yeah.
The first guy you mentioned looks like he probably fit the role a little bit better, but
yeah,
they would both be great.
It's always hard to know with Bond because ultimately what people seem to think, or like the public seem to think, is that they're going to cast somebody who's like tall, dark-haired, handsome, chiseled jaw kind of thing. But like when they cast Daniel Craig, nobody expected it. It was kind of like, wait, Daniel Craig, the guy's just done Layer Cake. Like, what's happening here? So I feel like
blonde.
Yeah, I just feel like they're gonna surprise you. Like no matter who gets cast, I feel like it will be a surprise in some way.
I only saw one of the Daniel Craig ones. I heard that one of them was a snore fest, and I heard the other ones were pretty good, but I don't know which ones are which. It's too dangerous to try to chance it, you know.
Yeah,
but the Bond that was coming out when I was in school was
Pierce.
Pierce, yes,
Pierce
thank you,
Brosnan?
Pierce
Yeah.
Brosnan, yeah. Which, looking back, I don't think those aged too well. Which I say a lot of people, say some of those earlier Bond films didn't age too well, but I don't know. Those '90s Bond films, they really captured like cinema at that point in time, right?
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
They got to be much more action centric.
Yes.
Big chase on snowmobiles, or
They were fucking.
What was the one when they were surfing or something like that? Was that the other one that was just it looked ridiculous anymore?
I think like his first one, which was GoldenEye, is great.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Also spawned GoldenEye for the N64, which was awesome.
Chef's kiss.
But yeah, his last one, by the time he gets Die Another Day, it's like a modern day Statham movie. Like before Jason Statham, like it's laying the groundwork for the Meg kind of thing. It's that kind of film. It's like, okay, I see how we got to the Meg. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens with Bond. You bring up GoldenEye though for 64, which kind of leads into one of my first picks. GoldenEye is what then spawned Perfect Dark for Nintendo 64. Did you ever play that with Joanna Dark?
Yeah, it's great.
Oh my God, that game made you feel like a spy. Like even that opening level, like where they like a helicopter drops you in on the roof and you have to start going down through the skyscraper. It just felt so legit. I felt like such a badass playing that game.
Yeah. I was gutted that they've just cancelled it, like the new Perfect Dark. Because
I was going to say, I thought they were trying to bring it back or remaster it or something like that.
Yeah, because they did one for like the Xbox 360.
That was just like a modernized of the original, right?
Yeah. So, I think so. Or did they tweak something? I can't remember. It's been ages since played it, but it wasn't a launch title, but I feel like it was the first like 2 years of the 360 cycle. Like it was pretty early in that group of games, and then since then I think they've been trying to make another one, and they there was a studio who'd been working on it. I can't remember who it was, but it got cancelled at the end of last year.
It's probably and it was really for the better.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it was one of those ones where it was like nobody was really sure how far in development it was. They showed a gameplay trailer for it like 2 years ago, and it looked amazing. But then when it got cancelled, a bunch of people were like, yeah, that gameplay trailer like was basically made just for that. Like no other part of the game existed. It was just
really?
Yeah, it was that sort of thing where you're kind of like, oh.
Just get your hopes up, kind of like the new Metroid that's supposed to be coming out, where the Nintendo Direct, all they show is like Metroid 5 or whatever it's going to be, and everyone freaks out, but then you never see anything else than a title screen. That's it.
Yeah.
Same way with like GTA 6, they've put out trailers and they've put out scenes that are supposedly supposed to be some in-game scenes, but I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I don't
You're like,
buy it.
like how much of that? Yeah. Until I see something with like a heads-up display, and I'm like, okay, that's like actually in the game. Like, cool.
Now it's official.
Yeah. I feel like that's what I need, is like, just show me that kind of stuff. And then I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm there for the game. But cinematic trailers, I'm like, I can't trust you.
You're untrustworthy.
Yeah.
I forget what I was going to say. Okay, so I think it's probably for the better. I mean, I would love to see a modernized take on Perfect Dark, but how many GoldenEye games, James Bond games came out after GoldenEye, trying to capture that light in the bottle again, and none of them held a candle to that original, lightning in a bottle. Same thing with Perfect Dark. The thing you're talking about with the 360 was, I think they just took the 64 game and put a new skin on it, changed the controls so you had two looking axes like you have in modern shooters instead of just the one joystick for everything. But it probably wouldn't do well. Unfortunately.
At this point, it's just playing on the name from yesteryear that everyone,
Yeah, member berries.
Yep.
Yeah.
Member berries.
Although the thing, like, if you go back and watch that gameplay trailer, I think the annoying thing is you'd probably watch it like, yeah, this does look really cool. And then it's just when you kind of find out that you were like, yeah, that's like, that was like made just for this. Like that might not have even been in the final product or whatever. That's where you just start to feel like, oh, maybe there wasn't like a plan. Like that's
Yeah.
annoying because you can get me excited over like breathing new life into a franchise, and then it's just all done for like show. It's just kind of like
Mm.
yeah, like nothing.
Well, it's like it makes me think of that the Steve Jobs movie that had was it Michael Fassbender in it?
Yeah,
Did he do one where
yeah,
they were getting ready to launch a demo, and he was fixated on the fact that the computer had to say hi to you. The computer has to say hi, and he goes, "Well, the shit keeps crashing; it just doesn't work, you know." So they found a workaround for it to where they could just get like an MP3 or something to say hi in front of the audience and make them all think that the computer said hi. That's scary shit, man. You know,
yeah,
you got to
yeah.
really pay attention to what you're watching.
Yeah, I find that happens a lot, especially in gaming as well, where it is just kind of like, here's this, and then it's like the final game comes out, and you're like, that's not what you showed me at all. Like
Yeah,
that looks completely different, or it sounds
yeah.
different. What it's yeah, that's
It was
annoying.
like that in the Spider-Man game that came out for PlayStation a few years ago, that everyone was looking at it and thinking it looked so great. And then when we got the gameplay, they're like, the water texture on the ground doesn't look the same.
Also, was it like nitpicking or was it like legitimate?
It was
glitching?
nitpicking. I mean, I
Yeah,
think they did have to lower the graphic abilities a little bit just to make it run smoother, but everyone was
yeah,
so focused on that. It's not what they gave. They said we were going to get. It's like, come on, it's that. Does that really change the gameplay or
game.
make the game
Yeah,
that much worse?
yeah,
I
yeah,
hope this GTA 6 wait is worth it. I hope they're taking care of all the water puddles and everything so that it just looks perfect. And I want to see a heads-up display too. When
The
yeah.
size of the game they're
Yeah.
talking about is ungodly right now. It's like 100 or 600 and some gigs, I think, or something. It's something stupid.
Oh, well, we were just talking the other day. I was thinking about getting, PlayStation 5, and like if I get the smaller one, you're pretty much just buying the console for that game. Like
Yeah.
you can't play anything else because the fucker's so big.
Yeah, I'm very curious how that's going to work. Like I just upgraded my PlayStation to the Pro model, and not because of GTA, um, but I was kind of like, every trailer for GTA has looked so hyper detailed.
Yeah.
Like it just looks like whoa, and I'm just like, how do you scale that for like the Pro PlayStation, the base PlayStation, and then something like the Xbox Series S, which is like struggling to run other games. You're like, what does GTA end up looking like on those between that? Like that's just such a wide spectrum. I can't imagine it.
I don't know, man. Time will tell.
Yeah.
I'm going to be certain before I take the plunge and spend all that money to get a new console, gaming, all that, online services, whatever.
Yeah.
It better be good. All right. Back to Jack.
Speaking of Bond, this movie I didn't realize had anything to do with it until the very end, but it was the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which was it had Henry Cavill. There's a couple other people that were some pretty big names, but I guess it actually inspired. It was based on a true story, and actually inspired James Bond. And when you watch the movie, you kind of get the gist of it, just because of the character Henry Cavill played. He's kind of just like a mercenary, or he's the top of like a special ops group in the military that they have him and his cronies. Well, they want him to go take care of this mission about I think it was a new German U-boat that was going to change the tide of the war. And he's like, yeah, okay, well, I need so and so and so and so and so and so, and they're just like, oh, okay. But he was just like Bond. He's super polite, nonchalant with everything, and they get the mission done. And at the end, he's what spawned, I guess, 007.
Oh,
With
it's like
other
a
missions that he did.
it's like a 007 precursor?
Well, not
Not
really.
officially,
Just kind of that man kind of spawned stories that would end up being, I guess, James Bond in the end.
Oh, I see. I thought you were saying
was-
there's like a James Bond Prometheus movie out there or something.
No.
Huh. What's it called again?
What was it? I gotta look it up again. It's one of those long names. I was talking to someone about it, and they're like, "Oh, that was the what was it?"
I keep thinking of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
That's the one that everyone refers to.
Yeah.
The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. But it was good. Definitely, it was a fun time watching it because just the way him and the guys on his team were just walking up and they just sit there and just lay out the Germans and stuff while they're working their way onto a boat to take it over. It was great.
That does sound like something I would be very into. I want to see if I can find that streaming.
It's super cool. It's a Guy Ritchie film as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I love a Guy Ritchie film.
I want to say it's on Amazon as well.
Awesome.
Yeah,
it looks like it's on Hulu too. So I should be covered.
Maybe that's where I watched it. I don't remember.
I should be covered. Cool. Maybe I'll watch that today. All right. Back around to Nick.
So I think my next one is, again, the other thing that kind of influenced Sussex quite a bit. But it's kind of like spy adjacent in that they are technically spies. But it's the Imitation Game.
Never heard of
it. It's got Benedict Cumberbatch in it, and it is about like code breakers at a place called Bletchley Park. And so they're basically the guys who cracked Enigma, like the German code breaking thing. So it essentially changed the tide of war. Like, had they not broken it, like a bunch of things would have changed. But there's a point in the film where it's essentially like, if they stop and they know an attack's going to happen because they've broken the code at this point. So they're into like the German transmissions, but they're like, if we stop this attack, the Germans will know we've broken the code. So we have to be really selective over what we stop and what we don't. And it's at that point where you kind of realize, like, these people literally had like lives in their hands, and it was kind of like they needed to choose the ones that would win the war, even if it meant casualties losing at the other side. And you kind of realize, like, that's really harrowing because they're not on the front line. Like, they're literally just working from an office or whatever, but they're making such these like important decisions that are just going to impact lives and lives and lives. It's crazy, but the film is really, really good. It's all about Benedict Cumberbatch plays a guy called Alan Turing, who is the guy that essentially like led the team to break Enigma. And the film kind of follows like his trajectory from getting hired at Bletchley through to after the war. And he's got quite a tragic story as well, just in terms of what happened to him. But it's a really fascinating kind of World War II story if you're craving that kind of thing. It's very cerebral and it's very clever. It's well done as well. Like, the pacing on it is really, really tight.
Yeah. It sounds like reminds me of the movie Windbreakers. Jack, you remember that film?
Yeah. Yep. That's kind of exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah. What was that? They were using like Native American code
language
to talk because it couldn't be deciphered.
Yep.
Yeah.
Could you imagine breaking a code and finding out information that you knew was going to take place, but you're like, well, we can't, stop it there because they'll know. So just got to kind of work around to get other. Oh my gosh.
It's terrible. Like, I think the way that they've done it in the film, and I've never looked into like whether this is like 100% accurate or whether it's just kind of done for drama for the film. But the way they do it is that, like, the thing that's going to get attacked is that somebody on the Codebreakers team like has family on one of the ships. Like, I think it is like a ship attack, and so this Codebreaker is essentially put in the position of like, if we saved your brother that's out there, it would mean potentially losing the war because they would know we've broken the Enigma and we'd have to start from scratch. So it's kind of like you have to make that sacrifice for the rest of the war. And you just sort of realize, like, that is such a weighty decision. Like, I would crumble under that decision.
My God, right?
Yeah.
Warfare is fucking crazy. I don't remember the context. I don't remember what war or what it was. I just remember hearing a story on a podcast years ago. A guy had been reading a book that had true war stories in it. And what was it? Was it like maybe not the Americans. One side had been in a battle and lost one of their generals or something, been shot, killed in duty. So what they did was laid out and wrote a bunch of fake plans as to like their next move, stuffed him in his pocket and threw him overboard of the ship, let the corpse wash up to enemy shores, let them find it, think they found secret plans. Then they ambush them based on the fake plans they put in their pocket. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, I think that's Operation Mincemeat.
Yes, thank you.
It's a really good film. Like, I'd say Imitation Game is like the other half of that story, in a way. Like, it's that same tone, it's that same feel, but it's not really on the like front line. It's more in the code breakers area.
So this was a fictional story?
No, Operation Mincemeat is true.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, an Imitation Game is kind of they're like linked to the same thing, like they work out the same kind of area. So yeah, if you enjoyed that, I'd really recommend Imitation Game because it is kind of those two kind of go together, I think.
Got a lot of watching to do. Damn.
Right.
Very good. This sounds good. All right, my pick is not nearly as... I've got two I could go with here because we're running a little long. Maybe I'll just go with Inspector Gadget.
Nice. I love it.
I mean, one of the coolest spies ever growing up, and coolest theme song ever too. I can't say how many times I've said that on the show, but I don't know. I just think about him all the time. One thing that I always thought about when watching that show was like when his arms would extend. Like, what happened to his real arms? Like when the propeller would come out of his head. Like, where the fuck's that going when it goes back in? Like, how did he do this? And I was thinking too much about it, but I'm just, realistically thinking about Inspector Gadget. The sacrifices the man would have to make to have all these telescoping appendages and helicopter head,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to realize that he's not really, the hero. It's Penny and Brain are the actual ones that foil the end.
He's just the adult that kind of tumbles through it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a little, a teenager that's actually the smart one that's saving the day at the end.
That was such a good show.
I feel like Inspector Gadget is something that there needs to be like a Guillermo del Toro version, where it's like the really twisted version of Inspector Gadget, and you can kind of see like biologically like how it works and
the horror of how it works.
Yeah.
Every time he telescopes an arm, it's extremely painful.
I was just gonna say, you can see the real pain behind everything.
I guess they did make an Alex Broderick live action, didn't they? Did they ever? What did I say?
Alex.
Who the fuck's Alex Broderick? Matthew Broderick. It's Sunday afternoon, gentlemen. Cut me some slack. But I don't know if they explained. Probably, I'm sure they didn't. That was a kid's film. They didn't explain what was going on there when he got transformed into it. And I'm almost positive the French Stewart live action Inspector Gadget gave no light on the subject.
Yeah,
French Stewart was Inspector Gadget?
Inspector Gadget 2. Matthew, not Alex. Matthew Broderick didn't return for the sequel, so they got French Stewart. Right. It just seems to be kind of in the closet for low-budget sequels, yeah.
It was that first one where he had an evil Gadget too, right? Because he had the cap teeth, big white teeth that he was fighting against too.
I don't remember.
I feel like there was one with like an evil Gadget.
It sounds right. Was that I don't know if I've ever seen any of the live action Inspector Gadgets. I just know I've
only seen some of the first one because it took place in Pittsburgh.
That's why you watched it?
Well, no, I just remember that it took place in Pittsburgh because I had been in Pittsburgh a lot, and there's one building that looks like a big glass castle, basically. So
okay.
It's like I've been there.
That must be the one that he's like in the trailer, like flying around, holding the handles outside of his head with the propeller.
Yeah.
The theme song was better than the show. Just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then one more pick before we move on was remember Mad Magazine or Mad TV, Spy versus Spy?
Yes.
Did you guys have Mad in the UK? Mad Magazine?
Not majorly, no.
Yours is probably called like Mildly Annoyed Magazine rather than full on Mad. But yeah, they were just books, magazines that were just full of like jokey comics, gross fake ads. Like
satire.
Yeah, like the Garbage Pail Kid equivalent of a magazine kind of a thing. But then they had Mad TV, which was just a SNL, a Saturday Night Live ripoff for the most part. But then they would have the Spy versus Spy cartoons in there. And I just always loved them. I don't know why. Like in the book, they were just a single panel comic, one spy trying to kill the other. And you never, I guess as soon as you think one of them's going to win, the other one pulls an ace out of his sleeve and ends up winning. But it was always like very much like Itchy and Scratchy from The Simpsons, right?
Yeah, like Looney Tunes or Roadrunner, Coyote.
Yeah,
and Roadrunner
Spy versus Spy. I have the Nintendo game. I remember finding the Nintendo cartridge at a store once. I'm like, oh, I got to play this. I took it home. The game is awful.
It is. I never understood how to play it, really.
Same.
Yeah.
It's just, as a kid, it would have been the gratification of turning the game on and seeing that, the spy there. It was like the first Ninja Turtle game. That game was fucking impossible. But I didn't care when I was a kid. I would just play what I could play over and over because I was playing as a turtle. So as a kid, it might have been different, but I got it as an adult, and so I'm much more jaded with life
right.
at this point.
That's like the E.T. game, too. Oh, wow, E.T. What is this crap?
Yeah, he barely looked like E.T., though. He just, but all the same, I played it like all the time when I was a kid just because it was E.T. It was the only licensed game I had. Everything else was baseball, Pitfall, Centipede, Frogger.
Yeah.
Movie game, so... Still have it, too. All right. Anything else then on Spies, gentlemen?
The Kingsman. That was a good one.
Ooh, the first one. The second one I did not care for.
No, yeah.
Like how they just up and brought him back to life. Colin Firth's character back to life. It's like, what?
That's right. Yeah.
Like, no, he was dead, bro. He was dead.
I just love how they based it around like the Knights of the Round Table. Everyone had the names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the infamous church scene. Come on.
Absolutely. Yes.
I mean, you can never get sick of it. You can just watch it over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Playing to what? Freebird the whole time?
Yeah.
Freebird?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the second one had Julianne Moore and like Elton John and shit in it? Like, wasn't it like just really out there?
Yeah, the second just got massive. Like, just, went too big. I quite enjoyed The King's Man, though. The like prequel thing.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
Neither
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was all right. There's a really good Risa Fans plays Rasputin, and he's really good as Rasputin. Like
Rasputin?
Yeah, because it's set during that time. And from memory anyway, I think it's set during that time. But yeah, Rasputin's in it. And yeah, he just, I would watch a whole Risa Fans Rasputin film. It was that kind of thing. I was like,
wow,
he nails that role. I'd watch it. Yeah.
There's always something about him I don't know, that makes the greatest villain just because you couldn't kill the guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Unkillable. It was just nuts. Yeah. Yeah. I think the only other spy thing that I thought I would mention, there was a podcast series I listened to like a few years ago, it might have been during COVID, called Winds of Change, which was all about so it's about the song Winds of Change, and there's a whole story about the fact that during the Cold War, when the song was like written, that it was actually written by or in cahoots with like the US government to destabilize like one of the like enemy states at the times. I can't remember if it was South America or if it was Russia or where, but like it was basically this idea that the song was written specifically for a festival that was taking place in one of these states. And the idea
Scorpion song?
Yeah.
Really?
The idea was that it was like they were going to play at this festival and it would inspire the people to like take a stand against communism or whatever and try and like destabilize the area with it. And this podcast series like basically interviews like band members or managers or whoever to like try and find the truth about whether this song was like written with like this Cold War thing. It's a really fascinating series, but it's totally bizarre.
This was the Scorpions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know the song Winds of Change.
Yeah, I would if I heard it. This is nuts though, because this is all what you just described is exactly the premise of that book we just talked about on the show, which is right here, the White Python World Tour, the Travis Kennedy book. Same concept. The White Python band in the 80s, hair metal band in the 80s, is used as like CIA operatives to help end the Cold War. So it's all based on that. Why the hell didn't Travis say that when we were talking about his book?
Could be a different one, but maybe the government tried it several times. Maybe the government were like, you know what, this is clearly a great idea. Like, music's massive. Let's
feel like I've been bambboozled. It wasn't an original idea.
Yeah, if you look at it is called Winds of Change is the thing, and I can't remember if somebody picked it up to make a film of it, I think, as well.
Well, this one just got picked up for a film. Like, seriously, I wonder if there's any affiliation. But why wouldn't have he said something? I'm looking this guy up.
Been kept on the down low the whole time. Scorpions are like, no, we had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, Hulu landed a TV adaptation of Winds of Change, which I guess hasn't happened yet because it was like 4 years ago. But yeah, it was a podcast all about that song and Spies and whether it was used to like destabilize somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah. There you go.
I guess that's quite a note. You give me a lot to think about. I have heard of that. I just forgot about it.
Yeah, it's nuts. It was one of those like ones that I was listening to during COVID, and I was like, "This is wild." Like being completely locked up during COVID, and then hearing the stories about like Cold War and people trying to like change people's minds with songs and stuff, and you're just like, "What is going on?"
Right?
It was, terrifying.
Now I got to research that and like compare it to the book. Like, you have me on a foxhole now that I'm probably going to like needle myself with into frustration. But anyway, that was a good spy conversation, though. I now have a lot of stuff to go watch. So thank you, gentlemen. But it's time to move over to Nick to talk about Sussex chapters 3 and 4. And, we've been privileged to, talked about Sussex on the show before. But before I go into anything, why don't you, Nick, tell the listeners who might be here for the first time all about Sussex?
Yes. So Sussex is as you said, it's a psychological thriller that explores mental health through the lens of a spy in World War II. That's kind of my my selling point for it, if you want. But the story is about a guy called Archie, who is a member of the SOE, which is the Special Operations Executive, who are essentially the precursor to like MI5, MI6. Like it's the start of espionage in World War II. And he's sent into occupied France, like just after D-Day, so it's the summer of 1944. And he's sent in on a Jedburgh mission, which is basically to disrupt like enemy railway lines. It should be a pretty simple mission, but it's like they're pushing the Germans out of France and they're just trying to destroy things. So that's kind of what chapters 1 and 2 is all about. 3 and 4 picks up kind of like post the mission, and it becomes more about Archie trying to get home in the wake of what has happened, and he sort of realizes that the only way he can do it is place his trust in other people to try and get him onto a boat and get him home. And in the meantime, like the whole book is told with a narration, which is Archie in the future, looking back on his time in the war, and he is clearly haunted by something that happened. And he's trying to piece together a way of moving forward and accepting what has happened, rather than living in it every second of the day.
Right. And how to say, I mean, you feel Archie's slow, I guess, descent into mental trauma, I guess. It seems like he, at the very top of chapter 1, he kind of knows his role in this. He's content to say goodbye to his fiance Alice, and just, it's, duty calls. But it's like, while the closer he gets to his objective and the farther away from her, you can see like the sink in with Archie. Like, things go from being okay to not being okay at all. And I like not only like how through the words you illustrate that, but the illustrations themselves illustrate that. You can tell like when he's feeling some of these emotions, how the background either just becomes a void or there's more of a particular light than there should be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
The artist I've worked with is a guy called Alvaro Molina. This is his first comic actually. And
What? Really?
yeah. And part of the reason that like I stumbled on Alvaro on Instagram and I sort of just like had to message him and I was like, I think I've got a project that really suits your art. And part of what I really like about Alvaro's art is that there are things about it which are really dark and heavy. And I feel like that does the mental health side really well. But he always kind of like juxtaposes it against really bright colors.
Right.
Which
like
is
those
something
purples and blues and
and like pinks and stuff. It was something that like I didn't script either. Like it's not in the script. It was kind of like you just turned in pages. And I was like, whoa, this is like this is it. Like this looks amazing. And it's quite a clever way of doing it because in one way you're sort of like, that's a really beautiful page, like that's really pretty, but the content of it is quite miserable.
Exactly.
And it's just quite a nice little thing to navigate, I think.
Right. So, this being obviously a story about a spy, in World War II, but also wrapped around, mental health. What was the initial objective for Sussex? Were you wanting to tell a war story, or were you looking to put something out there to help people with mental issues they might be dealing with, or both, or neither?
Yes, so it stemmed purely from the mental health side of things. I about 11 years ago now, I went through like a load of mental health issues. It was like I've always had anxiety since I've been like 13, and it's kind of got like worse and worse and worse. And then, like 11 years ago, it was kind of at the worst that it was. And then I also had kind of my first like bout of like real heavy depression. And when I was going through it, I was kind of like, the one thing that was kind of helping was having days out. I was like, I need to get out of the house and do something that I wouldn't usually do. So I was ticking off things like going to museums I hadn't been to or whatever. And one of them that I went to was actually Bletchley Park, which is where the Imitation game is set.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I went to like, it's a really strange place. It's like, it's just like a little like town kind of thing that they've built inside this like park. It's very unusual, but it's really kind of like tranquil as well. There's like a little lake thing there and like loads of greenery and stuff. And I sort of visited it on like a really wet summer's day. And I was like, this is like just a really nice place. And then you start reading the stories about the things that they were doing there, and you're kind of like, again, it's that juxtaposition where you're like, you're in a really nice like little pocket of like England, and there's all this awful war stuff going outside, but you're making decisions about that war.
Yeah.
And I was reading about some of the stories of code breakers there, and I just kind of thought, in my mental state, I could not do this. Like, there is no way that I could make informed decisions because I would just be too anxious. I would end up really depressed about the decisions I've made or whatever. Like, it would just live with me. I can't compartmentalize that feeling. And so that kind of got me thinking and thinking. And I knew I wanted to write something about this mental health that I was going through. And then reading those stories, I was kind of like, oh, well, maybe there's something there. And I kind of thought mental health is not a new thing. Like it's a newish term in the sense of, I think recently it's become more of a talked about thing, which is good. But people back then must have had anxiety and just not been able to either name it or have any way of dealing with it. Like it wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
And I just kind of thought, like, that's probably my in with the story, is like, I think it's about this guy who has this anxiety and it's almost unsaid because it's kind of like people don't know how to react to it. Like PTSD was a thing,
right?
But just everyday dread, everyday worry didn't really have like a name. And so I just started writing it from that point of view. And it took ages to kind of like crack it, to figure out what it was. And there was a load of research, and it was a good like few years before I had something. And then when we had run the last time I caught up with you guys, which was the last Kickstarter we did,
Right.
which at the time was for Sussex, just chapter 1. This must have been like October or November 2023, something like that. And I was like promoting this thing, and I was like really aware that I was like, there's something like not right. Like something is not right in my head. And I got to like January 2024 and then just like had the exact same things. I was like riddled with anxiety, riddled with depression. I was just like, this is not good. And so that year again kind of turned into like, I need to figure out a way through this and try and like find what's going on. And in doing so, I ended up going back to the Sussex script and rewriting a few things and sort of tweaking Archie's voice a little bit. And his voice then became a bit closer to me. Like it became a bit more kind of like I was less restrained, I think, in the first version of it. In 2023, it was a bit of like it was more of a character. In this version that we've now been making, there are like lines of dialogue in there, which is like things that I've said to myself or things that I have felt or feel. And then I've managed to weave that into his character. So it's kind of become a bit more realistic, I guess.
You're saying you went back and to chapters 1 and 2 and like changed the way Archie's talking in those books. So like the initial one we saw is different than the ones out now.
Yeah, so the ones that I would have sent you guys like last week or whenever it was week before. So that's like our current version. That's the one that I changed and had and we put on Kickstarter last year and it was successfully funded. Yeah, so like that is kind of like the true version of it. I think the one that I had at the end of 2023, which we had a completed chapter 1 at that time, I didn't really realize it until I read it halfway through 2024 that I was like, Archie's voice was just wrong. Like it felt unauthentic. And I think it was because it was like the areas where I was getting closer to my mental health. I think I was kind of like, I don't want to like deal with writing that. Like if I write that, I feel like I'm opening up a can of worms.
Yeah.
Which I think is when you know you've got a problem. Like if you're like, I don't want to go near that because it's going to cause me a problem. I think it kind of shows that like you've got an unsolved problem in some way.
Right.
Yeah.
And so as I was kind of like going through things and trying to get better and try and find a bit more balance is when I went back to the script and I was like, okay, like this is the thing that Archie's feeling. What am I feeling in this context? Like how can I translate this? And I started shifting things around, and I think the book came together in a much better way. Like last year when we finished chapter 1, kind of like having redone it, and we went into chapter 2, I just felt like Archie's voice was a lot clearer. Like I was kind of like, I know where this is going and I know what he's saying. And then like writing the end of the series, like this Kickstarter is for 3 and 4, which is the end. I sort of knew the ending. Like I was like, yeah, I know where this goes, and I kind of know how to write that voice for the end. So yeah.
Wow. Interesting. That makes sense, because when I was going back through chapters 1 and 2, there were things that, not that I remember every little detail, but things seemed a little different. Especially like I love the last page, and this probably isn't different, but the last page of chapter 2, where there are just a bunch of little boxes that are, it's like, it sounds like the wife of somebody who's been to war talking to a doctor, being like, I don't understand. Like, he's here. He's, he's awake. He's just not the same person. I know I'm lucky to have gotten him back from war, but it feels like he didn't come all the way back, kind of a thing. Which will then obviously lead into chapters 3 and 4. So what can we expect from chapters 3 and 4? Are these the last chapters, or does it go on past that?
No, this will be it. So I think chapter 3, it's chapter 3, you sort of see what it was that caused the problems. And that's kind of what chapter 3 is all about. Like, yeah, I was trying not to spoil it then. But yeah,
important when you're marketing, very important.
But yeah, there's certain things in it where it's kind of like they're the actual pinpoints of what is the problem, and they're kind of like threaded throughout chapter 3. Um, Chapter 4 is then almost the fallout. It's the like what comes afterwards. Um, and yeah, that's probably all I can say about it without ruining it.
I got it. I got it, man.
But yeah.
What else was I going to ask? What are you hoping that somebody who gets their hands on a copy of Sussex, when it's completed, what are you hoping their takeaway is from this?
I don't know. I mean, I think like in a way, like the reader has never really come into my thought process for Sussex. It's kind of more been like I've very much written this from the point of view of like I need to get some of these thoughts out of my head because like I have them every day in a way. And it's kind of like just being able to put them on the page and contextualize them into someone else's story is kind of like therapeutic. It's a bit easier.
Sure.
So I think like part of it has been that. It would be nice if like, somebody was like, yeah, I see myself on the page. So that I know that I'm not completely crazy. But yeah, otherwise, no, I think I'm always trying to like balance the line between like with everything I do, I think there's always like an emotional current to it, whether it's like a love story or whatever. Like Sussex is part love story, part mental health, part war. And I think the thing that I always try to do is like give a kind of like pulpy story, but there's some kind of thematic sense to it. Like there is something in there that I'm trying to say, and this one is specifically about mental health.
Yeah. And even if you're not trying to, even if you don't have those people in mind, your audience, when you're initially writing this and constructing it, from where you're coming from, it sounds like there's going to be a ton of people that will be able to relate to it,
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, the first 2 chapters were really well received when we did them last year. And last year it was one of those things where like when I started the promotion for it, having rewritten it from the previous Kickstarter, I didn't really get nervous like writing it. I was kind of like, oh yeah, this sort of makes sense. And then I remember like vividly like doing the first piece of promotion for it, and I was like, oh no, this story is like really about me and it's really personal, and like I've never sort of put me on the page before. And I think like in a way that's a little bit more so with chapters 3 and 4. Like chapter 4, the end of it is kind of the thing where it's like, that's me right now kind of thing. It's like that's the snapshot. So like that's the thing where I'm a little bit like nervous about it, a bit kind of like, oh no, like somebody's going to read that and be like, this is really painful or something. But I think it'll be fine. I think, yeah, we'll see.
Well, everyone takes something different. Everybody can read the same thing, but everybody sees and, interprets it differently. So who knows, maybe somebody.
Yeah. All I'm kind of hoping for is, like either somebody really enjoys it as a war story, or somebody feels like, yeah, do you know what, that is saying something about like mental health and that it's not been a new problem. I think like that is the one thing, is that viewing Sussex as kind of like this thing that is very much set during the war and kind of going like, oh yeah, okay, like anxiety was definitely a thing. Like it was, people were struggling with it, and this is kind of a snapshot of that. Yeah.
Well, job well done. I haven't seen chapters 3 and 4 yet, obviously, but what we have seen thus far has been very good. Tell us though, what are people who back this Kickstarter again, starting February 26th? What are they going to get for backing the project? What reward levels do you have?
Oh, we've got loads. So we've got, last time we did an art print, which is from a guy called Tim Catherall. He does like loads of like war art prints and war illustrations. Like he's awesome. But last time he did a really cool one. And so we've brought him back, and he's done another art print, which will come in 2 styles. There's like a color version, and then there's a black and white version, which is just for like the opening 4 days of the Kickstarter, I think it is. It'll be from the day we launch to the Sunday, the 1st of March. So art prints are available. We've got a really limited amount of chapters 1 and 2 physical from the last Kickstarter. So if anybody's wanting to pick up like both copies physically, there is a bundle that'll do all 4 of them, or all 2 books. And I'd probably like most like extravagant tier we did it last time and we've done it again, is you can be in the book.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, so last time we did it where in chapter 2 you meet some of the French resistance.
Yes.
And there's two characters in particular who are people who backed the book. Like they sent us their face and we drew it in the book. So we're doing that again. In chapters 3, there is another group of French resistance people, and we have 3 slots available, I think it is, that you can be. So so we've only got like 3 slots of those, but you can technically see yourself as a member of the French resistance.
Am I allowed to ask what those slots cost?
I've forgotten what we've priced them at. I think they're £90 or £80. It's one of those two.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm still in the middle of like building the Kickstarter right now.
Sure.
But yeah, I think last time it was about £90.
I'm just over here thinking like I could be in a comic book.
I know we still have that hurdle to cross too.
I know, man. We've come so close, like so many different times. We got the other thing done. We've been in a few different movies now, but still have yet to do the comic book.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah. I might have something I can offer you guys. I might have a little something. We'll chat after this, but
okay.
There might be a little. So we've got those. And then, I think other than that, so it's art prints, custom character. I'm offering my editing services if any writers out there want.
Oh, nice.
To have any work edited or notes or feedback or whatever. And I think that is it. I think that's all that is.
That's it, he says, of all that stuff he just listed.
Yeah.
Especially
you can also get the books. So, so I've got like physical copies of The Red Wave and I've got physical copies of Lone Tales. So you can grab those as add-ons. So
and like the advice is, that stuff is hard to come across. Good advice, I would have to imagine. I'm not a comic creator, so maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. I know if I were reading the tiers and being, writing a book myself, be like, oh, hey, I could really take advantage of that,
Yeah, that's my hope. Is I kind of realized like last year when I was building the Kickstarter for the last one. This version is much the same. Like even the prices have stayed the same, which in this economy is crazy. Don't know what I'm doing. But
you're putting yourself out of business, Nick.
But the editing services, I was kind of like, when I realized that I'd been writing comics and novels and stuff for like 10 years, I was like, that's probably a wealth of experience. And then add to it like a master's degree in creative writing. I was like, maybe someone will see some use in kind of like my notes and my feedback and whatever. So I was like, I'll offer it. So it's nice.
I would say so. Wow. Well, congratulations, man. I'm excited to see the last chapters. Again, to everyone at home, February 26th, going up on Kickstarter. I already have the link below. I'm assuming it's the same link. When it goes live, we're not going to get a new link, right? The link I have.
Yeah, the pre-launch link will just change to a live link.
Perfect. So that's in the description below for everyone at home to check it out. And outside of that, is there anywhere else they can pick up the books outside the Kickstarter?
Only digitally. Like digitally, you can pick up chapters 1 and 2 on Amazon. But again, like on the Kickstarter, we've got digital copies like readily available.
Yeah.
And like a real handful of physical copies. So if you want physical, like
that's where you get them.
Small.
Yeah. And I'm a physical guy myself. I like having the physical in hand. Nothing wrong with digital, though. I read digital, too. If I didn't, we wouldn't be able to do this show for all these years.
I find, digital is great, especially for, like, ongoing single issues. Like, I got to a point with, like, Batman, where I was like, oh, my God, I have too many single issues. And I was like, I need to start whittling this down. And,
I have so many single issues. This whole thing behind me here is built on single issues. I'm not kidding. These are all stacked comic boxes with a cover over them. That's just the tip of the iceberg. But anyway, congratulations, Nick, to you. And again, to the people at home, check out the link below to be a backer on Sussex chapters 3 and 4. Nick, thanks so much for being here, man.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been a blast. It's it was long overdue. It was great.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to be doing it again, obviously. But
yes, 100%.
Awesome. Jack, tell these people what we have on our website, sir.
Go to cannedairpodcast.com where you can check in on new and old episodes, find all our social media links, become a patron, see some merch, and check out some of our special guests we've had in the past. And if you'd like to be a guest and promote your work, send us an email on our contacts page.
Don't forget to find us on social media, on Instagram at canned_air and on TikTok at Canned Air Podcast. And the website Jack was just talking about, cannedairpodcast.com, has a few different ways for you to support us. One, our Patreon page, which $5 a month gets you access to a 5+ year growing catalog. It's a whole different show than we do over here. We just really let the hair down over there. There's some structure, right? We need to figure out different ways to describe these episodes other than we let our hair down. I don't know. What happens over there is the viewer has control. You guys become a patron. You tell us what you want to hear. We talk about it. And any filters we put up for the normie show that you're watching now, we don't over there. So I advise checking it out. It's one of my favorite things to do as part of this podcast. Aside from that, if you don't want extra content, if you want merch, we have Jack? A hoodie, a mug, maybe a few stickers available. Over
There's
at
t-shirts, hoodies, a couple of mugs. Yeah.
Over at cannedairpodcast.com. Check out what's there. We're still merging over to the new website hosting service, and merch had to be redone. So we're still working that out. And big thanks to Evergreen Podcast Network, the podcast network we've been a part of now almost 5 years, if not more than, along with many other great podcasts. Be sure to check them out at evergreenpodcast.com. I think that's a wrap. So I want to thank everyone for watching. Nick, I want to thank you for being back on the show. Be excellent to each other.